one officers are there, and they are always within their offices. So I think if we embrace that, and then definitely we would be able to realize maybe certain of these tendencies brought down. And then really in this incident, residents led by Mr. Abdul Katabazi pursued their silence and knocked them down and lynched one of them, identified as Enoch Serunkuma, while Noah Luja, the second suspect, was spared after being clobbered purposely to provide information on who hired them to end the boss's life. So I think that was quite good, where we did see them actually also really arresting. But I really want these for now suspects who were arrested to tell the public who exactly hired them, so that we get to identify these people who are behind the killings. This could be the same people behind all the killings. And then why don't I think sparing one is quite good, and we expect them to tell us substantive answers of who exactly hired them, and really if they deny, then maybe what was done to their colleague can be done to them. Sentencing them to death or maybe life imprisonment could actually really work. So I think that is something that we did see going on, and there's something I must say is very, very bad, and we must condemn it at all times, because issues of gun shoots really do not spare any other person. And then these misuse of the guns may not be able to spare you. So you may think that it is targeting maybe some specific group of people. Then you never know. Sometimes the bullets do not spare and may come really also to hit you because you're not reporting. So I think as a member of the public, my humble appeal to everybody out there is, if you're suspecting maybe somebody within your area or vicinity could be having the guns, please feel free to report them to the nearest police agencies, such that security can carry out investigations on who exactly these people are and where exactly they come from, such that really these tendencies of the gun misuse can be brought down. Something that I must say is very, very bad, and where really you realize that innocent people could not lose their lives in terms of these errant people who want to really have, maybe who have their ill intentions, or maybe want just to terrorize society, are really suffering from. So I think as members of the public, I want to call upon each and everybody out there, if you realize that somebody is not maybe doing something that you feel is not right, because at night you realize that these people move out, where do they go to? Are they bouncers? Are they DJs? Are they what? Really, if you feel that maybe this person is doing certain of that thing that you do not understand, you can rush out to police, or maybe else one can carry out the investigations on what exactly to do, because these may be the people who are terrorizing society. You never know. So I think that is why it is always very, very important for each and everybody out there to really also desist from tendencies of keeping quiet, because if you keep quiet, at the end of the day, it is our relatives that continue to suffer the harm. So I think my humble appeal to everybody out there is that we must not keep quiet on tendencies of this gun misuse, because at the end of the day, it may be our families that could be able to suffer from that. So I think that is something, and Luja has been receiving treatment at Mulago Hospital and has since provided information leading to the arrest of the 6 other people, including Naluenda, who was arrested on, that is, Thursday night. So to say that Naluenda is in constant contact with Serunkuma and Noah Luja for 2 days in the hours when Bossa was killed. So I think that is something that we also did see going on, and the police also suspect that the killing of Daniel Bossa could be in relation to cultural Sikh conflict that dates back, that is 487 years ago. So I think these issues are really not to happen, but is it worth for you to end somebody's life just because maybe you feel that you need those positions? To me, that is not very, very right. And I really want to call upon people to desist from these tendencies. The post that you need definitely will come to you, because I do understand that sometimes we say leadership comes from God before really you taking over that office, and then definitely maybe God had maybe destined you for that. So I think that is why it is very, very bad for people to really also continue ending other people's lives just because of these material issues that we want on this earth. Really, it's not quite good. And that is why we must always condemn such instances when they happen. And the Energy Ministry probed over staff recruitment. That is also something we are seeing on the papers here. And the Inspector General of Government has launched investigations to circumstances under which some staff in the Energy Ministry were really recruited. So I think this is something also we are seeing, because entirely the sole mandate of recruiting lies into that Ministry of, that is the Ministry of Public Service. And this follows a January 8th petition that is to the IGG by a whistleblower who claimed one Rose Nanono was recruited for one of the ministry projects, that is in 2018, allegedly without following the requisite process. And Ms. Nanono works under the Energy Ministry's Electricity Sector Development Project, and really that is why the energy also, the whistleblower was able to really also petition IGG also petition, that is the Ministry of Ministry of Energy through the IGG to really also make an assessment of what exactly really happened. And according to the petition, recruitment on local contracts involves carrying out a need, that is carrying out a needs assessment, setting up job description and advertising for the job, shortlisting, interviewing, and recommending the award of the job to the best candidate. So I think this is something that maybe could have not been followed, and for one reason or the other. So I think that is why this whistleblower was able to really also petition the Energy Ministry through the IGG, through that letter of petition. So I think it is quite good, maybe, if at all, if the public also really is told about certain of these activities, because sometimes people talk about ring fencing of the jobs. That is why it is always doubted. It is always very important for us to follow and observe the criteria for people to actually obtain these jobs. Because once they are not obtained, we will be able to realize that maybe certain of these activities will be coming out. And that is one reason, I must say, as members of the public, or maybe as holders of these offices, if you are told we are to avoid such criteria, or maybe such complaints, we need to desist from tendencies of maybe people getting the jobs without necessarily also following the procedures. Because at the end of the day, you realize that so many of these ideas or thoughts continue to exist that in the minds of the public, because really you realize that the claim of people buying the jobs has always been there. And then maybe the issues of nepotism also have often come out, because you realize that so many of these positions are not really also advertised, and you find somebody who is just maybe a fresh graduate taking over these positions here, and then the person who has been applying for over years is left out. So that is why you realize that certain of these activities, or maybe certain of these challenges, continue to come about. And really, as holders of these offices, we need to ensure there's transparency, because once without transparency, then definitely people will continue to petition our initiatives. So I think that is one reason I want to say, as holders of these offices, let's desist from tendencies of corruption, because that could be corruption. You never know. But really, we are waiting for the final investigations, of maybe the final report from the IGG to explain maybe the criteria that was used for maybe also really recruiting this lady here. And the responsibility of recruiting into Uganda's public service lies into the that is the Ministry of that is Public Service Commission and the District Service Commissions for central government employees and local government staffs, respectively. And the whistleblower also seeks termination of Ms. Nanono's appointment and the directive to refund the money earned in terms of emoluments and allowances, reasoning that it is taxpayers' money. So I think that is something also we did see maybe the whistleblower demanding for, because after all, this lady was recruited without observing the procedure that was to be used maybe for taking over these offices, because it is entirely supposed to be Ministry of Public Service, well, that is actually responsible for giving those positions, and then the District Service Commission, that is for the district jobs. Now, this was not observed. Where could have been the gap? So I think that is also something that maybe needs to be maybe answered by this department for giving out that job to this lady without maybe the notice of the public, because for public to know about these jobs, it is always advertised where people have to apply, and then the best candidate is selected, and that is one thing that maybe was not really also observed. So I think that is why it is always important for these people to really observe certain of these activities when taking over these jobs. And when contacted, Ms. Nonono said she does not know about the whistleblower and really not ready to give any information. So I think that is her response and onto that there. So I think she also asked the reporter to meet at the ministry offices, but when the reporter reached, she never picked up the calls. And that is one thing that we also see for really also undermining sometimes when they deny giving information. So I think that is also something we also have to ensure that we talk about, because if we continue to maybe keep quiet about some of the activities, we see them often continuing to go on and on. And then definitely it is us that first suffer the final repercussions. And that is why, if you feel as the members of the public, you have the guts, that is to fight corruption. You have a role to play when it comes to fighting that's against corruption. So you need to rush out to the nearest agencies. The IGG offices are always there within the districts, and really this is where you can report. And really if you feel something is not going on rightly. And the Whistleblowers Protection Act 2010 provides that is for protection of the whistleblower, and stipulates a 5-year jail term for anyone who reveals the identity of such a person. So I think that is why it is very, very important for people to really also keep the identity of, that is, the whistleblowers, that is silent. And moving away from that now, really also Deputy Speaker of Parliament, that's Deputy Thomas Tayebwa, has called the leadership of the Catholic Church in Uganda to join, that is, in its efforts to improve wealth creation at the household level. Yes, you realize that really these religious leaders have a great power That is when it comes talking to the sheep, because sometimes it is the sheep that flock to the churches who listen to them very, very much. They actually do not maybe also get time to listen to the political leaders or any other technocrats, but they very much listen to these leaders. More so during the Friday preachings or the Sunday preachings, you realize that on Sundays there's a full capacity, about 500 or 200 people are in one mosque. And then on Sundays, and you realize that at least more than 500 people also really continue to flock churches in different sessions, and where if the religious leaders could be able to also be able to be engaged in these government projects, for instance, for them to preach, and then definitely we may also realize these government projects realizing the success that we want them to achieve. Because you realize that at this time we have the PDM that is in place. We had the Myoga, we had the Youth Life, we had the Bonaba, most of them did not achieve, and then we are still having the baby now, which is in the house, that is the PDM. That could be the driver also in terms of socio-economic transformation. Are we going to be seeing that? Me, I think yes. It is only on one condition, if we involve all the stakeholders in that. Because recently you also realized that the GROW project was launched. That is recently by the head of state, that is President Kokoliriko Museveni, which targets, that is the women in business. And this is actually going to be in the refugee hosting districts mostly, where we are expecting them to be receiving monies to boost their businesses. And then what does this mean? So I think it is quite important for those who actually may be able to really also need the monies for themselves. You have the right time now to actually benefit from these monies, because all these monies government is giving is to help and empowering you, not for you to just eat the money, but realize at the end of the day, sometimes people get these monies, they just misuse or chew the money, which is really quite unfortunate. For instance, the PDM money. If you move to most of the villages, you realize people bought the people have used the money for buying unnecessary things. Some have used the money for buying hoofers, which is really quite bad. Others, we have seen them when they're coming to withdraw. We have often seen them on borders carrying their mattresses, which is really quite unfortunate, because that money was given to you to uplift your life. Because if you realize that the 1 million, maybe if you invested it rightly with the PDM, really you realize that some people are going to actually benefit from that. I must say this, you are going to realize that some people have benefited from this in most of the villages. There's a lady in Zombo, there's one in Terego, whom really have seen them actually growing from the PDM money, and now they're doing very well in terms of agriculture. This is actually where, if we use this money properly, and then at the end of the day, we'll be able to realize the president's dream of, that is socio-economic transformation, or in terms of moving our people away from the poverty line, which has often been there as a challenge. So I think that is why it is very important for people to really also desist from tendencies of just misusing the money, because if you continue to misuse the money like that, then definitely it is very bad. And Tayeba said this was a sure way for the African church and society to preserve that is its values and defend itself, that is from external pressures. Yes, if at all really you realize that a poor person is one who is actually most vulnerable, that is to certain activities, and that is why with the pressures that we're having from external world today, for instance, under the homosexuality bill, which the country rejected, and then with the ban, that is also the ban came with its own challenges, where the donations were actually cut for us, and then really, if at all, maybe where we could be able to maybe desist from tendencies of depending on, that is, donations, then definitely socio-economic transformation would be able to be the way to go, because a person who is empowered would be taxed, and the government will realize money from these people really, and that would also really be quite good there. And really to put that discussion on hold, we are yet heading for a short commercial break, and when we return back, we shall be able to really expound more on that discussion, and also be able to be giving you other insights on the other topics that you may be able to really want to know of. Remember in Dokolo, the nominations are also really going on. We did see the UPC candidate being nominated. The FDC also is doing the same, and then other parties who are also eyeing that seat also really nominating their candidates, and I will be able to really also let you know maybe what is transpiring in the other part of the region there. But for now, let's first have this short commercial break, and when we return back, we shall be able to really also let you know more of the topics there. Thank you so much.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON. All 52 games live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are yet continuing with the show, and that is the Kokoliriko live show on channel 0073 on Zuku. And those of you streaming us online, I do very, very much appreciate you and say thank you so much for always watching West Nile Television. And of course, you may also really share your maybe insights and thoughts on what we are discussing here on our various, that is, social media platforms. For those of you watching us via X, you can really also drop your comment there. Not forgetting those of you watching us, that is via Facebook, you can also really feel free and drop your comments there, and we shall be in place to really also read them. And then not forgetting those of you also via YouTube, you can also really drop your comments there, and we shall be able to read them loudly and clearly and share with the rest of the viewers. That is why it is very, very important for you to always be part of the show. And remember, before we did go for the break, we are discussing, that is, Tayebwa's call to the church leaders to ensure joining hands, that is in relation to wealth creation, which is actually the president's #1 mandate right now, the president's #1 dream, that is in terms of socio-economic transformation. And that is why we have seen him now also really wanting to see the success of the parish development model. And recently we also did see him launching the great project that is for women entrepreneurs. And I must say all this really to ensure that women actually uplift their status of life, that is in terms of also getting something small for themselves. And that is why it is very, very important for each and everybody out there to ensure that they really also engage and participate in these projects, because they are not there for free. They actually come, that is to help you as the masses out there. So I think you as the masses, you as the receiver, you as the beneficiary, if at all you receive these monies, and then we must really put them into the right projects, not for instance, not for buying the mattresses we have been talking about, and also really ensuring that we use the monies for maybe drinking beer, which is quite unfortunate. And then for those of you who are actually going to engage in this, remember this is a revolving fund. You may also be arrested, that is for not paying this money here, because at the end of the day you are supposed to refund this money back, such that maybe the other people who did not get the money like me may also really have access to it, because I do not really also qualify. But really at the end of the day, if at all maybe people refunded the money, I will be able to maybe also really maybe become that is a beneficiary to this money. But I'm not saying that I need this money, but I want to call upon each and everybody out there, more so the receiver of this money. Let's ensure that we use this money rightly. We must put it in the right projects that would also really be quite good there for us. So I think that really we did see that this was during a function where Tayebwa was chief guest at the memorial lecture that is organized in honor of the late, that is Archbishop, that is Joseph Chiwanuka, held at Hotel Africana. And the lecture was organized by Lubaga, that is Lubaga, that is Cathedral Foundation, and led by, that is Kampala Archbishop Paul Semogere. And that is also something where we did see it going on. And he noted that whereas government commends the church, that is for its significant contribution, that is in providing education and health care, now there's time for it to embrace, that is wealth creation. So I think that is one thing that we also did see going on. And Chiwanuka was Archbishop at the birth of that Christianity in Africa between, that is 1899 and that is 1940. And he was the first black papal representative, that is from Africa, and the first black member of the African Missionary Society, the White Fathers. And really he is credited, that is for having evangelized, that is most part of the African continent. And that is one reason the memorial lecture maybe could be in honor of him. So I think you as maybe the public office holder, you also really have to ensure that you do good things so that maybe once you're gone, we may also be able to also organize such memorial lectures for you. It feels great to be honored, to be remembered like that. So I think it is quite good really for people to also really ensure that in the position that they hold, let them ensure also that they do good things that once they go for, they will be able to be remembered for. So I think it is one reason I also want to call out, make it a call that is for everybody holding the offices out there. Even if the smallest office you are still holding, you need to ensure that you do something good that would be able to be maybe used for remembering you at the end of the day. So I think that is one thing I must say as holders of offices. Let's ensure that we do that. And then the Deputy Speaker commended the initiative that is to remember historical leaders, saying it was an indisputable way of passing that is on knowledge to the young people. Remember during these things here, so many things can be discussed, more so during these memorial lectures. People can discuss maybe about people's legacies, which at the end of the day inspire the young generation, which is quite good. So I think it is something that we must also really call upon and we must do to remember those people maybe who have gone, that maybe who are passed on, maybe who have retired from offices. It is good for us to always remember them, such that the young generation also is motivated to do good things at the end of the day. That would also really maybe help in terms of addressing some of these issues that we are having in the society today. For instance, the corruption vice. People will be able to be desisting from it because they know and they want to be recognized once they are gone, maybe once they leave those offices. So I think that it is always good, and I want to make it also a call once again, and I say everybody out there, if you're holding an office, let's ensure that we do good things such that once we leave this office, because we're not going to be there forever. The Archbishop has gone. He left, and he left a gap which was had to be filled by somebody. And who is that somebody? It is definitely the young generation whom we have to motivate, whom we have to encourage. That is through such memorial lectures. To me, at the end of the day, that would really be quite good there. So I think that is something also we must see. And he pledged to support the church in obtaining land that is in Maokota County, that's in PG district, where the church plans to construct the Archbishop, that is Chiwanuka Center for Promotion, that is of spiritual and livelihood program. So I think that is something also really we must also see, and really we also want to commend them for doing that, because at the end of the day we must also ensure that we work together and we have to support the church, and that is why it is always good for the rest of the leaders to support the church. And then the church also has the role to play that in supporting government also projects. For instance, maybe during this period here, if at all we are able to maybe involve the church leaders in spreading the gospel of these several government projects. For instance, the newborn, which is the PDM that is in place, and if at all we also really had that criteria of also involving these church leaders and telling them, you have the right to play. You have to tell the sheep that you lead that this is not right. You have to engage. That is in these projects. All that would also really be quite good there in terms of addressing these challenges that we are seeing today. Maybe in terms of the mindset change, I will be able to talk about where some people have negative perception towards these government projects. Others think it is for politics. Others think it is the money which they use for voting, which is quite unfortunate. This money is supposed to help you. It's not government money. It is government money, yes, but government is giving it to you to help yourself rather than also having that negative perception. So I think which is quite unfortunate. And if these church leaders were able to be involved, not only the church leaders, the clergy at large, if it was supposed to be involved, that would also really be quite good there. And really, according to church leaders, the historians, this was also the focus for Chiwanuka, who is also credited for having distinguished himself, that is really while serving God. So I think that is also something we are saying, you have to do everything rightly. And Omach hailed the late prelate, that's for having literally forced every household massacre to rear cattle, cultivate coffee and bananas for initiating, that is the cooperatives. So I think that is also something we also say has to be done that way, and that is also something we have to ensure that we work towards if at the end of the day we want to maybe achieve certain of these government projects, that success maybe in terms of these government projects that we want to see. Really that would also really be quite good there. And really that puts that discussion on hold. And let's move now to Busoga, where Kadaga promotes iftar meals, that is in the Busoga mosques. That is really quite good, because as leaders we have to ensure that during this period, one thing that is actually preached is giving back. In terms of that is giving back to the needy members of the community. You have to do good things. And yesterday, actually, I had a meeting that is with the district card, that is Sheikh Abu Jafar Karara, and in his message, he actually called upon Muslims and non-Muslims to share among themselves, and this is what we are seeing, which is really quite beautiful. And this because during this time we are seeing the Christians also within the Lent period, as the Muslims are within the Ramadan period, which is really a month, I must say, is of doing good things. It's a holy month where we do not expect maybe people with ill intentions to be existing, because in the Islamic faith usually we say this is the period where the Satan has been tied. And in Christianity also, I believe that could be the same thing, because at the end of the day, really, we expect to be doing good things more so within this period here. And you'll be able to realize maybe also during this period, Muslims must be able to relate well with their neighbors who are maybe Christians. And then the Christians also, we expect them to be sharing amongst themselves, amongst the Muslim community, because at the end of the day, we have to peacefully coexist, which is really quite good. And as Muslims commence the fasting period, that was yesterday, and today I do understand that it is the second day, and I must say happy Ramadan period to my Muslim brothers and sisters out there. We must fast, because if at all God gives you the chance to reach this Ramadan period, then you have to give back to him. That is through prayers and through fasting, because other people wanted to see maybe themselves also reaching to this period, but unfortunately they were not able to do so, and God was able to maybe stop them for different reasons. Others are in the hospitals, others maybe died. So I think that is why we have to ensure, if you have the fasting, if you have the energy, for those who have the courage, who maybe have the strength of giving back to needy members of the community, we have to ensure that we do so by donating. And she announced that she successfully negotiated with the Turkish associates to supply that iftar meals for breaking the fast during the Ramadan period in all mosques throughout Busoga. That is really quite good, and this is something that we are not seeing in our mosques here, which will also really be quite good. And then I want to maybe also encourage our leaders to ensure that once they go out, let them lobby for such things, because at the end of the day, this actually is very important. And Luangula College of Science, look at that is really that's Namoenda, that is Kamuli District Local Government. It also really encompasses that is necessary section that really that's something where we are seeing maybe the donations could be able to really also go on and on there. And really, I must say also, we have to ensure that this does not really go into waste, because at the end of the day, these donations are really supposed to maybe also help, that is her, in purifying her wealth, and in terms of also in purifying her spirits and her soul, because at the end of the day, we realize that maybe during this period, this is where those who are going to totally submit to God are going to have, maybe through repentance, are going to get their sins forgiven. So I think it is also a period, just like the Lent period, we also have to ensure that we take advantage of, more so the Christian brothers, within the Lent period, we are maybe ask for forgiveness. God also maybe forgive our sins, because at the end of the day, there's nobody who can say that he or she does not commit sins. For in one way or the other, then we may be able to commit sins. Maybe the difference could be the size, or maybe the sum of the sin that we're committing. So I think that is why it is very important for people to also really ensure that they desist from tendencies of not maybe apologizing to God during this period here. And this is the time also we do understand that God is very merciful, as he has always been. And this is actually the time we must ensure that we ask for forgiveness. And really, that is what summarizes that donation with. And I want to encourage the other leaders also to ensure that they do the same, more so leaders of other parts of the region, more so Northern Uganda, for instance, in Acholi, Langwan, West Nile. If our leaders also really supposed to do the same, maybe to those vulnerable communities where we know maybe food feeding could be difficult during this period here, we have to ensure we stretch a hand to them. Maybe if we cannot afford alone, let's maybe lobby from other members of the world who are willing, who have the capacity to donate. That would also really be quite good there. And Gemma's Mayanja Chibiriga announced retirement from politics is also another thing that we are seeing here. And the national chairperson for Justice Forum, that is Justice Forum, Muhammad Mayanja Chibirige, has announced his intention not to seek re-election in the upcoming National Delegates Conference, scheduled that is for June 2024. And really, this is something also we are seeing here. Maybe he feels his time is up, and then that is one reason he's leaving office, maybe for young, vibrant leaders who may have the courage to spearhead the affairs of the party. Really, that is also something that we want to see. Maybe the rest of the leaders also do the same, because if you feel that you are tired, freely walk away. Nobody's going to do anything wrong to you. That was really quite good, and we must commend him for that, because at the end of the day, he is leaving the gap, which maybe do not feel very well to other people who may have the capacity to really also maybe ensure that they take the mantle to the next level, which would really be quite good there. And Chibirige is a two-time presidential candidate after his attempts, that is 1996 and 2001, really failed. And Chibirige, 74 years, expressed gratitude and respect towards the members of Justice Forum, fellow Ugandans, and well-wishers for their support throughout his tenure as the head of the party there. And he acknowledged the privilege and honor of serving as the national chairperson, but highlighted the need for healthy governance and structure by providing that is prolonged stays, and that is in active politics. And that is also something that we are seeing on maybe why he is actually retiring that is at the age of 74 years there. And this decision reflects his commitment to maintaining the party's principles and ensuring a smooth transition of power within the Justice Forum. And that is something also we are seeing here. And following his retirement, Chibirige plans to redirect his focus, that is towards professional consultants work and international assignments and community services. That is also something we are seeing here. And his intention to engage in these areas demonstrates his dedication, that is to contributing to society through different avenues beyond, that is politics. And really, I must say also, there's life after politics. And there's really more that people can do after leaving this position. And that is why it is very, very important for people to always ensure that once they are leaving, maybe the positions, the people that they are leaving behind have the right, maybe right dreams and the right focus towards also taking the shape and maybe also maintaining at the party, for instance, without not necessarily also leaving the party that is in dire needs or maybe in terms of leadership crisis. And that is why it is always very, 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 very important. And I believe he has actually left people maybe who could be able to fill that gap there. Remember, Jema is actually one of those parties that has its own people. There are people who subscribe the Jema ideology. In Arua here, I know of some people who, for them, they say their party is Jema, and really that is actually what they believe in. And really it is a freedom, and really Uganda's laws do not limit one, that is to any affiliations to a political party. You can actually join any other political party that you feel that you believe in their ideology. For instance, you may choose to join any other political party that we have in Uganda. We have really quite many. We have really, and you can actually become any member. And remember, tomorrow, the NRM actually update and verification exercise will be able to comment. And for those who maybe actually believe in the ideology of NRM, you can actually rush to the nearest village chairpersons and you'll be able to actually have yourself, maybe your details got, and that would actually maybe declare you as a member. That's for the national ruling government of the NRM. So I think you have the mandate to join any other political party. And that is one thing that I must say you are not limited to. And you can actually become any member of any other political parties that we have in Uganda here. We have quite many. For instance, we have the DP, we have FDC, we have NRM, we have UPC, we have JEMA, we have quite many. I may not be able to really mention to you all. And as Man Basel read, the party president, Reverend, that is Santos Okema, Vice Chairperson, and Haj Muhammad Katerega, Secretary General, and Ibrahim Samba, Chairperson of the party. So I think all these things have been serving in one way or the other. They have been playing different roles, and their roles in facilitating seamless transfer of power within the party will be crucial in coming months. And all these leaders I did mention to you have a role now to play in terms of identifying their next leader. And who exactly among these do you think could be able to be the one that could maybe take the position to the next level? That is something that maybe for the party believers, and then for those who understand the affairs of the party, you could be able to also share with us and let us know who exactly you feel needs to take over that position of the chairperson there. And really that would also really be quite good for in terms of shaping the affairs of that party there. And as the news spreads, speculation about potential candidates for the position of the next national chairperson is expected to arise. And now we are going to be expecting people to also really express their desires to becoming, that is the next party chairperson there. And really we do not expect this to also destabilize the party, just like how we have seen it happening within the other opposition parties. I may not be able to mention which one exactly, but really I must say we would not expect that to also go on. And we expect maybe the constitution of the party to be maybe observed there, such that at the end of the day we do not have tendencies of fights or maybe internal fights, that which I believe may cost these opposition parties at the end of the day, because these intra-party fights may at the end of the day cost the parties very much, maybe in terms of dividing the voters, or maybe in terms of the voters losing trust in these parties. So I think those who are affiliated to the party, that is of JEMA, you have a role to play, maybe in terms of following the affairs of your party there, and really who exactly is this man is something that somebody out there may want to be knowing. So I think after unsuccessful bid to represent Kayempe North in the Constituent Assembly that drafted the Constitution, Chibirige surprised the nation by picking the nomination forms to challenge President Museveni, that is in the 1996 elections. And although he scored 2.5% of the total vote, he was way behind the two that is front runners in the after President Museveni and the Democratic Party's Paul Semogwere. That is also something that we are seeing, and he really has something we also say maybe somebody may want to know who exactly, and instead he focused that is in his energy on building cohesion that is in the party and growing its base. And we have seen this actually growing, and we have seen the party also really getting recognition from certain believers. And I do understand that these believers are actually those that subscribe their ideology. And he brought the several youths, that is into Justice Forum Party, and two of these eloquent youths that include, that is Asman Basalirwa, who is now in Parliament, and now also not forgetting Yusuf Chiranda became the guild president at Makerere University under his party. And now we do also understand that Chiranda now did cross, that is the Democratic Party. This is where we have seen also party, maybe also these opposition groups are moving here and there, because you're entitled to any. If you feel that you're tired of this party, you have the right to move. And really, somebody may want to also know when he was born, and I must say he was born on that is May 30th. Of that is 1950 in Mende village, that is in Wakiso district, that is Chivirige, went to Mende Primary School, Damusera Primary School, and really later on we did see him actually finalizing his education with a bachelor's degree, that is from Makerere University, and ever since he has worked with Makerere University in various capacities where he actually has been serving. And Chivirige has 5 children with his wife, that is Mariam, and another 2 with his second wife known as Hadija. That is a brief thing that we also really have to tell you, because he's a Muslim, he's entitled to marry 2. Somebody may be asking, how many wives did he marry? He is married to 2 women. So I think he is entitled, because under the Islamic faith, you can actually marry up to 4 in terms of really maybe your strength. If you feel that you can take care of all of them, you are not limited, and you can continue to marry up to 4 women. And that is one thing that I must say also he did. He married 2 of them. And really, that is where something I must say is about a gentleman there, and that summarizes that discussion with that gentleman. And really, we are that is now continuing with the show there. And something that we did see also happening in there is, recently we did tell you the message about the shooting of, that is the NUP chairperson of Kabong, and now we also are seeing emerging reports which are conflicting. And somebody may be asking in terms of which one is conflicting. Now, the Kabong District National Unity Platform chairman, Ambrose Luchoto, aged that is 30 years, is said to have been shot dead by that is security forces who were tracking suspected cattle rustlers, that is in Kakama sub-county, Kabong Town Council, late night of Sunday. So I think that is something we did see going on there on a short notice, where we did lose this gentleman there at the age of 30 years, which is really still young, because at the age of 30 years, you still have a long way to go. But really, that incident, that unfortunate incident did go on there, which is quite tragic. And really, we must say, may his soul continue to rest in eternal peace. And we mourn with the NUP fraternity, which is really something that we did see going on there. And then for those people in that Karamoja region, they are also losing that gentleman there, which is really quite unfortunate. And the Karamoja region police spokesperson, Mr. Michael Longole, however, says he was mistakenly shot dead by joint security forces who were responding to gunshots by suspected cattle rustlers in Kakama sub-county. And really also we did see that gap going on, and really he went on to say they were receiving social media reports that is the deceased was one of the leaders of an opposition party, but the incident had nothing to do with the politics. And really that's something also we are seeing also going on there. And really, I believe that could have been the case. It could have not been politics, but could also be politics. We never know. Really, something also really didn't go on with the people there. And really, according to Mr. Longole, the deceased was footing and wondered why he dared walk along such a deserted path in the night. And really, also even when he heard gunshots in the area. And until his death, Mr. Luchoto was a carpenter, that is in Kabong Town Council. But in 2021, he unsuccessfully contested, that is for the Kabong Town Council LC3 seat on the NUP ticket, but really didn't go on. Really, it's something that we must also really say did go on well for him there. And since that defeat, he returned to his mercenary work, and during the weekends, he was an ardent fan of the English Premier League side, that is Arsenal Football Club, which he often cheered when he got hours off his work duty. And that is something we did see. And maybe the Arsenal fans could be able to miss him for that, because he was one of them. And some local leaders, however, dispute the official police narrative that he was a victim of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. So I think that is something also we did see there. And the district councillor for Kabong Town Council, Mr. Gabriel Loiki Park, said Luchoto left his home on Saturday to watch the Arsenal game really against Brentford. That is in an English Premiership fixture, which went on that late night. So I think that is something we did see. And he added that as the ladies fled, Luchoto ran and took over undercover one of the buses where he was really also unfortunately pulled out, bundled on police pickup truck and taken to the banks of River Kabong and shot dead. So I think that is also something which is quite unfortunate. If at all this did go way as explained by this gentleman here, then that means that people are going to lose trust, that is in the police force, and really that would also really be quite good there, because you are not entitled to kill maybe somebody for their party affiliations, because the person is the laws guarantee the person to join any other political party that they feel that they need to do so. So I think that is quite unfortunate, if at all this is very true, and really that is something we must also really condemn as members of the public. And then for those who have the guns, you have to ensure that this does not happen, because really you are just killing somebody just like that, which is really quite unfortunate. And the police publicist Longole, however, dismisses these claims as a fabrication, saying that the shooting was purely a case of mistaken identity. So I think that is also something we, then what next? That is also something we expect maybe police to respond to. Are they going to take care of the family? Are they going to make sure that they do compensation? That is something we are waiting to see. We are waiting to see, so that at the end of the day, these shootings do not continue on and on. Because at the end of the day, really, you realize that these people who suffer from these gunshots are the innocent people, and really you realize that also they leave the family members very vulnerable, because he was a breadwinner. Being a carpenter, I do understand that he had his own family. He may be able to have his own wives, his own children, his dependents, who are now going to be rendered helpless there. So I think that is why it is very important. And he added that they held a meeting with Luchoto's family and handed over the body after that is on autopsy was carried. That is out at Kabong Hospital. So I think that is also something. We did see also the party president, that is Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, who actually also commented about this, where he took it to Facebook, where he posted, while NUP supporters and mobilizers go through incredible problems all over the country, really it is wrong in northern Uganda, where RDCs, DSOs and GISOs and DPCs, etc. work overtime to instill fear in the entire population. He actually also said it. He added, since the 2021 election, several comrades have been killed. That's in West Nile, Langwa, Chol and Karamoja. We strongly condemn this cowardly action and demands for, that is justice for Comrade Luchoto, and that is something also we did see also going on there. And the National Unity Platform Party Secretary General, Mr. Davis, that is Rumongoya, also did take it to Twitter on the same platform, where he said, we lost such a solid comrade who was always put on his power and attire everywhere. Very sad. Now he said it's very sad that he has been murdered in cold blood. That is something also really I must say is very unfortunate there. But really, why must these people be killed, if at all this is very true? Could it be that it is a case of mistaken identity, as police says, or the leaders are just maybe putting claims or allegations? I do not know, but you as the viewer, you could also really share your ideas or thoughts with us, and we may be able to also really share it with the rest of the viewers of what you think about this shooting of the National Unity Platform coordinator there in Karamoja. And really with that, we come to a close of that discussion, but really we are still continuing with the discussion. But first, we are going to be having another short commercial break. And when we return back, we shall be able to also let you know of what is happening in the rest of the parts of the world. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
on all 52 games live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial break. This is still the Kokoliriko live show with me, FARISH MAJID on West Nile TV. And it's a great pleasure knowing that you are watching us from wherever you are doing so. And I must say, it's always good for you to be part of this show each and every mornings. That is from Mondays to Fridays, right from the hour of 7 a.m. until the hour of that's 9 a.m. And this is where we also let you know of what is happening in the corridors of current affairs. And definitely you need not to we also let you know of what is happening within the society and in the other aspects of life. And usually we summarize discussion that is with sports, and that will be able to come later on in the evening of the show, and that also will be able to lead us into the Lubarati News Bulletin with, that is Feta Emmanuel, that will be able to come through, that's at 9 a.m. And at midday, we shall also be having, that is the Lembangea News Bulletin, that is with Kaching Growth, Faith, and radio that will be able to come through. And then at the evening, that is at 7 p.m, and then Kumburinga Christian will be able to summarize our final news bulletin of the English, that is the Nilecast. And that is why it is always very, very much important for you to be part of these news bulletins, so that you are not left out. And this would also really keep you as an informed person, because an informed person is one that will also really be able to make that is informed decisions. And that is why I want to call upon now each and everybody out there not to really also maybe miss out on these programs, because these are there to inform you, because really as Western Television, our number one mandate remains, that is to ensure that we enlighten the region. And one way we are actually going to enlighten the region is through giving you access to information. And that is why the morning show comes each and every mornings. It is there to let you know of what is happening. And that is one reason also really we must ensure that we also really let our people out there know about what is happening. And that is one also thing that really also we discuss. And then moving back, really you realize that as we in the month of Ramadan, the Christians also within the Lent period, and really the Muslims have been called upon, that is to ensure that they do good things. And really this is in Nebi, and if you can be able to also get that full story of what exactly has been said to them, that would also really be quite good there. Because at the end of the day, you realize that certain periods are really, people do not actually take advantage of this period here, and yet they could be able to so really maybe benefit from this month here, because the Ramadan period really, I must say, also has its own advantages. For instance, it is very, very healthy for people to fast, and that is actually one advantage of the fasting period, where people maybe those who are very fat could actually also use this period maybe also for losing weight, because weight may be very, very bad, and it is why people must also ensure that we fast, because health-wise, it has also been noted that it has its own health advantages. Really, if you can be able to get maybe what is happening and what has been said to the Muslims, that would also really be quite good. Alfred Jawak has that detail of what maybe needs to be done. That would quite be good. Let's first get the story.
Has many Ugandans joined the rest of the world to extend their best wishes to Muslim communities on the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan, which started today. Muslim believers in Greater Nebi have been told to reflect on their faith, to forgive each other. Ramadan is the festive month during which Muslims around the globe reflect on and renew their faith. Muslims honor each day of Ramadan as a day of patience, endurance through fasting, and each night as a night of gratitude through prayers. Ramadan is also a month of giving, as Muslims reach out to assist those afflicted by hunger, poverty. Hashim Suleiman, Member of Parliament, Nebi Municipality, reminded the Muslims that this is the month to repent from our wrongdoings and sins. He urges that all Muslims must find peace on this Ramadan, as he wishes happy Ramadan to every Muslim, adding that may Allah ease Muslims' hardships and shower them with lots of peace and prosperity during this holy month of Ramadan.
In our calendar, and I pray that they should prepare themselves spiritually. And this is a month somebody really dedicates his life to God. You leave very many things, including food during daytime. You don't eat, you don't drink, you don't do anything. You're not supposed to do anything evil. You're not supposed to do anything evil at a bit, You're not supposed to. You're supposed to repent, to always be repenting to God, to really forgive you for whatever you have done for the whole year. So I encourage the Muslims to embrace the fasting month which has come, and it will take 30 days, it's only 30 days. Then after the 30, sometimes it can take 29 days. It follows the moon, how it moves.
Right, that is it, and really I want to say now, let's reflect on our faith, be it a Muslim or Christian. This is actually the period where we must make reflections of our faith, maybe how we stand. That definitely will also really be quite good, and really, if at all you realize that maybe what you have been doing is not right, this is the time for you to change and start doing the good things, so that at the end of the day, you are not really left out. So I think I want to make it a call for each and every other citizen out there. Maybe during this period also, we must make sure that we do good things, and these good things will also really be good there for you. So make reflections of your life. What do I mean by doing good things? You have to ensure that you donate to the people, and for those who have the wealth. Those who have problems, you have to apologize. For those who wronged, you actually have the mandate now to go and actually ask for forgiveness within this period here. That would also really be very, very good for you there. So I think this is why I want to summarize a discussion with, and I want to say, let's ensure that we take advantage of this holy months. At the end, the Christians, let's also take advantage of the Lent period, which is also there in place, so that at the end of the day, we benefit from these days here. Other than that, really, I want to now move to Moyo, where women in Moyo sub-county really have been urged to send their children, that is daughters, to school so as to empower them to become, that is, leaders in the society, and that is also something we are seeing here. And this urge was made by Drania Victoria, the parish chief, that is for Longowa, during the belated Women's Day celebration, that's in Moyo district, so in Moyo sub-county over the weekend. So I think that's also something we are seeing here. And we say women have a great role to play, and once we support them, and I believe really if we start empowering the women through supporting them, that would also really be quite good there. So at the end of the day, there's no woman who is going to be left as a goalkeeper, really, as we have always termed them, which word to me is really very, very harsh. So I think there's no going to be dependence syndrome, and once these women continue to work for themselves, and then definitely you realize that there is no problem, and then you realize that cases of GBV are always very low, such that also really tendencies of domestic violence, which usually result from poverty, are avoided. So I think that is why it is very, very important for women out there to support the girl child by taking them to children, by taking their children to schools. That would also really be quite good there. At the end of the day, we may also see our daughters, our girls realizing their dreams of maybe becoming who they want to become, because at the end of the day you realize that some of these girls wanted to become doctors, others want to become engineers, others want to become pilots, others want to become journalists. But at times they get limited because the platform, that is education, wasn't given to them. So I think it is very, very important for people to resist from tendencies of early marriage, where people want to just eat. And this is quite something I must say, we have seen it among the elders, more so in this region here, where they want to just eat, and then they think they still look at the girl child as a source of wealth, which is really quite unfortunate. Yes, the girls could be source of wealth, but what kind of wealth are we talking about? If we empower the girls and then they get employed, there would be that kind of maybe source of wealth to us, but really not maybe just giving them to marriage. That is to men for marriage, which is really quite unfortunate. At the end of the day, that would also really be quite unfortunate there. So I think I want to call now upon elders, or more so the women, the grandmothers or the mothers, to ensure that the issues of taking their daughters to school is taken very, very seriously. And the celebration, which was for Women's Day, was really celebrated, really mainly brought together the women within the sub-county with some key district leaders to appreciate the role of women promoting that development in the sub-county. Took place that in front of the sub-county headquarters, where we did see this ceremony going on. And Ms. Danielle Victoria, the parish chief, that is for Longowa, who represented the chief guest, really during the occasion urged the women in the sub-county to send their daughters to school so as to get them empowered and really become, that is, people who can actually participate, that is, in building this nation. And I really want to say, if a woman is supported, you may also really see them actually getting empowered and then getting the support that we may also want to see them to become. And that is why it is very, very important for us to also always out there to support these women by actually giving them the necessary support, because once we do not give them the necessary support, then definitely they may not be able to realize the dream that we want them to see and then go through. Because some of these girls, you realize that they have the dreams. They want to become doctors, they want to become pilots, they want to become engineers, but one person who is actually limiting them is the society. And as society, if we continue to really see them as a part of wealth, then it is quite unfortunate there, and really that would also really not maybe also realize the dream of that is these women here. And let's first connect that is to Moyo and have a look at maybe what transpired during that function there. It would also really be quite good for us to also see maybe how that transpired, because girls play a great role, and really we have a great role also to play in terms of supporting these women here, because really if we cannot neglect these girls out, and then definitely their dreams of supporting them cannot be achieved, which would also really be quite unfortunate there. Let's first have a look at maybe what is happening in Moyo, and then what the leaders said during that period there. Thank you.
The celebration, which mainly brought together the women within the sub-county with some key district leaders to appreciate the role of women in promoting development in the sub-county, took place in front of the sub-county headquarters. Mrs. Drania Victoria, the parish chief Logoba Parish in Moyo sub-county, who represented the chief guest during the occasion, urged the women in the sub-county to send their daughters to school so as to empower them to become future leaders, saying when you educate a girl child, you educate a nation.
They have to go to school so that in the future they will become like us, they will become good leaders. It says that when you educate a lady, you educate a nation. So as parents, today we have to learn from this occasion that when we reach home, we have to see that our daughters at least go to school.
Honorable Aleruto Maza, the Member of Parliament for West Moyo County, said women can only be empowered if they venture into the different government programs, adding that education is very key in enabling the women to benefit from the different government programs so that the women can be at par with men.
For one, we feel that women can only come out of this basing on the theme of today's celebration by involving themselves in government programs that have been geared towards the alleviation of poverty at household levels and for socio-economic and cultural development.
Mrs. Ivulili, the chairperson Women Council Moyo Sub-County, said she wants the women in her sub-county to be role models to other women in the district, adding that the reason for them being together is to engage the women in meetings on developmental issues, but not only wait for Women's Day celebrations so as to share ideas which can empower them, saying the women in the sub-county are very strong and independent in the sense that they pay their children in school without going to borrow loans from financial institutions, but rather focus on savings, which has greatly empowered them. Mrs. Baywa Juliet Asusi, an enrolled nurse and a woman activist in the district, said there is need to promote girl child education and encourage women to undergo different skills so as to empower them to be able to make money by themselves, saying there is enough evidence in Uganda of women holding powerful political positions in the country, and encourage the women to work side by side with their men so as to accelerate development of the district and Uganda as a whole.
We have women who are already beyond that. They may not need now current education of going to class, but still we can empower them by giving them different things, training them using handcraft, taking them for training so that they can do their own things and they can be empowered to get their 1,000, at least 2,000 per day and their living. I prefer women must be empowered as the government says.
Mrs. Chandia Benedict Kodili, an opinion leader, urged the public to focus more on the family, saying the family plays a pivotal role in bringing about development because every development starts from the family.
Let us concentrate on the family. The reason I'm saying that is because everything begins from the family. Development begins from the family. When a family is peaceful, when a family is working together, when a family is in harmony, then we can see development. Because from these small family units, it becomes a community. So we need to emphasize the quality of families that we have.
The International Women's Day is a day celebrated on every 8th of March every year, but in Uganda...
All right, you can see the excitement of women really, and I believe if at all we continue to support the women, you will be able to see maybe those dances going on, and such the excitements really very, very much mean to the women, and women want to see themselves joyous, and that is what really transpired in Moyo Town Council there. And really I must say it is quite good, because if at the end of the day we do not empower our women, then definitely we leave the girl child suffering. That would also really not be good there, because if they continue to suffer, then definitely how are we supporting them? That is something that I must say we need not to really also continue talking about, and really that is also something that really summarize that discussion with. And I say if in case maybe you feel you need to put something forward about that, then definitely you can also really share with us your thoughts on that is the various social media platforms. For those of you on Facebook, you can drop your comments there, and then not forgetting those of you via YouTube, you can also as well drop your comments there, and we shall be able to sort of read them through. And remember yesterday also, this week we have been seeing that is the nominations that is for the Kokoliriko district by-election going on, and really that seat fell vacant following the demise of that is the member of parliament for that area, woman member of parliament for that area, that is really Cecilia Ogwal, something that did go on, and now efforts are underway to actually have her replaced. And then among so many people have been actually already been nominated. By yesterday, at least 6 people had been nominated already for that position, and notable among this is actually where some of the parties that have been fronting candidates, we do understand that we do have the party that is Forum for Democratic Change actually fronting, that is a candidate who is actually said to be the daughter of, that is Cecilia Ogwal, identified as Dr. Rosemary Alwach, who has actually been fronted by the family to represent the mother there in that parliament, actually to replace the mother as a representative of that Kokoliriko district woman by-election there. And we also did see yesterday UPC announcing also, and then NRM actually announced that is Janet Adongo Rose Lau as the flag bearer to actually also face that is FDC's candidate, whom to me I see as maybe as the strongest opponent right now, given the fact that we have actually seen our politics where maybe if the mother dies or for the father dies, we want to see them replaced by the family members, ring-fencing actually for family members. We have seen it happening, and notable actually we did see also this happening very various positions, for instance the MP, and then we also did see this going up the LC5 position in Hoima there. So I think this is where we have seen also it going on, and UPC has actually picked, that is Guti Nyankori, that is for the Kokoliriko district woman by-election. So I think we are also going to be following up on that, and then who exactly will be able to take over that position is something that I do not know, but the Electoral Commission is now actually in the process of having the voting exercise done, and you realize that so many of these candidates have been fronted by their various parties, and then they are all in the position, and who exactly will be able to be declared winner is something that we do not know at the moment, but we shall be able to also let you know when the right time comes, such that you are not really left out. Because if you're left out, then definitely what does it mean? That means that really you could be able to be left out in terms of also knowing of what is happening right from the region, because really as part of northern Uganda where this election is going to be taking place, we are very keen, and we shall be able to be letting you know of what is happening until the last drop. We shall be able to keep you informed, updated of what is happening and who exactly will be able to be declared winner when the right time comes. And we are still going to following up on that, and our prayers is that we want to see the exercise very, very peaceful, without cases of intimidation, without cases of violence, without cases of loss of lives, as we have witnessed maybe in the other by-elections. For instance, the rural municipality by-election, which we did see going on, which was really something that which is still very, very much regrettable, where we did lose a member, that is of the driver of the National Unity Platform Party president, where we have also seen some of the members actually being left crippled up to now due to what happened during the time there. And I must say, these were the unfortunate instances which are quite regrettable, and we do not want to see them continue to happen again. And really that is also one thing that we want to see maybe could not be able to happen, that is in Dokolo there. We want to see a peaceful maybe election that to me would be very, very good there. So I think that is where I want to summarize that discussion with, and I want to say we want to see a peaceful election process that is in Dokolo, where we are now seeing EC, the Electoral Commission, actually engaging that in the nominations, and which would also really be quite good there if at all that happens very, very well. And really that is something we are still following up on. And still within that is Lango, Chief Whip Obua held that Huawei's Digitrack for boosting digital inclusion, that is Lango sub-region, and really that is something we are seeing happening there. And the government Chief Whip, that is Hamson Obua, has hailed Huawei Uganda for its Digitrack project that he said has boosted digital inclusion, that is in Lango sub-region, and that's something we are seeing here. And speaking during the graduation ceremony of 241 beneficiaries of the project that was at Boma grounds in Aleptong district, Obua appreciated the cordial relationship that is between Uganda's government and its Chinese counterparts. That is something also we are seeing here, and really also we want to say let that continue going on, and we want to see more of these international relations, maybe even stretching up to West Nile sub-region, where our youths who may not be able to have something to do can be actually engaged through such trainings, so that at the end of the day maybe they get themselves skills, which to me would be quite good. So I think that also needs to be extended to the rest of the parts of the region, maybe in Western sub-region, maybe naturally, that would be quite good. And maybe also the youths, maybe those who are actually said to be the wrongdoers could be transformed, because if somebody is transformed, somebody who was a criminal is now able to maybe earn something for himself through hard work. That is something that we will also want to see, because really sometimes you realize that these boys really maybe want to work, but there's no work, and that is something also that is forcing them onto the streets, or maybe something that has been forcing our girls, also our ladies, to go into the streets. But yet if we could actually engage them into some of these projects, that would also really be quite good. So I think that's where I want to also say that is kudos to the Chinese government, and then the Ugandan government also for that cordial relationship in terms of ensuring that they work together, and at the end of the day their working together is a benefit that is to the young population who are actually trained in this training here. That is where I want to say it's a kudos to them. So I think working together is the way to go, and we expect more of this, more so between the Ugandan government and the foreign governments for the good cause. And he reminded the youth that every successful man has a start story, and encouraging a youth to start small and with such skills they have attained. And really that is quite good, because you may not be able to start big, and you want to own a factory when you have just obtained a skill. That is quite unfortunate. But rather I want to say, if at all we are to start, let's start small, let's utilize the skills. We can start as apprentices, and then with the apprenticeship skills, maybe later on we may be able to also get these other skills from the seniors, and then get the clients who will actually maybe move to our workshops. So that's where we may be able to be getting this necessary support, and that is why we may also get to depend on ourselves. That is one thing I want to also say, the youth maybe who have received this training, let's take the training seriously. Let's not put the training to waste, because at the end of the day you realize sometimes youths are trained. And the government has a lot of training initiatives right now in the ghetto communities in Kampala. You realize that the government of Uganda is actually rolling out several training schemes, that is for the youth actually to get skills for themselves, more trained mechanics, electrical installation, tailoring, and other skills. But bakery, for instance, not forgetting, actually, that is where we have seen our women actually getting a lot of skills there. But sometimes they come out and really lack what to do, because they lack the necessary capital, they lack the necessary equipment to start. That is also really quite unfortunate. And what next after training? That is where I want to also pose my question to maybe the relevant authorities who are actually behind this training here, to also explain and tell us maybe where next that would also really go on, and say those who have attained the skills can actually also use it to transform Aleptong and beyond. And Obua lauded Huawei for its effort for training young people in computer skills, and that is something also they could actually also earn themselves monies from. And remember, somebody who has a computer knowledge is actually one that is very maybe supportive, maybe also can actually earn something small for themselves. And Obua lauded Huawei for its efforts for training young people in computer skills. Huawei Uganda's deputy managing director, that is Gao Jian, stated that the digital track project is part of Huawei Tech for All initiatives, which also aims to drive, that is, inclusion and sustainability across the globe. So I think that is something we must appreciate them for, and really say thank you so much for those who are actually behind that, and really we must appreciate them, because each and everybody who is actually doing something good, they deserve to be appreciated, because sometimes people have the capacity, but they do not actually want to extend their hand, and that is one thing also really I want to say is very bad. And Jan applauded, that's Obua, and the local leadership of Lango for the warm welcome they received for the Huawei Digitech truck in that is Alebtong, and ensuring that people benefit from the ICT skills. And he congratulated the beneficiaries from Alebtong and reminded them that they are now not alone, but part of the global community connected to the visible trends of the technology, and encouraged them to join hands, that is to have a fully connected and intelligent world through the skills they have attained, to start by using it to improve themselves and really eventually also transforming the society at large for a better Uganda. That is also something that was really also said there, and really we expect now these young people, more so those who have actually obtained these skills, to actually use them rightly, because really you have now obtained computer skills, and how are you going to use the skills? And somebody may be able to also ask themselves, where am I going to go next with the computer skills? You may be able to start a library, you may be able to start a secretariat, maybe you may also really maybe start a small shop where you can do printing. That is one thing also really where I want to call upon these young youths who have obtained the skills, maybe to use this maybe in terms of also really transforming their lives. Because once all you need is just a computer, and once you have the computer, now you have the skills, because this is something that is from the brain. Once you have the skill and you have the computers, then you need a printer, maybe also something that's small. For those who know how much money, maybe those who obtain graphics skills, you can also start designing graphics, and then printing those graphics would actually maybe be your life changer. And I think that game changer you have been always wanting in your life, for instance, moving away from poverty, that would also really be quite good there. Because at the end of the day, we have seen many young people who have actually benefited from the ICT skills that they attained. We have seen quite many who have actually earned for themselves, those who are printing, those who are in art. We have seen them using these skills, which is really quite good. And really I want to say, those who have obtained the skills, you have earned maybe capital, and then you have to maybe just tap into that capital very well, such that at the end of the day, you earn something small for yourself. And really that's summarize that discussion with. We are still continuing with you up the hour of 9 a.m. But for now, we are yet running for the last commercial break, and when we bounce back, we shall be able to come and summarize the discussion. Remember, do not forget that we also have sports updates, which we shall be able to give you in the evening of the hour, and then that will usher us straight into, that is the Lubarati News Bulletin with Fete Manuel. For now, let's first run in for a short commercial breather, and when we return back, we shall be able to pick up with more conversation from there. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back, and we are still continuing with the show that is the Kokoliriko Live that comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays, and really we already in the evening of the show, I must say, as we are just remaining with very few minutes that is to summarize the discussions with, and I must say so many things have been discussed already in the show, and that is one reason also we come here each and every mornings, that is from Mondays to Fridays, right from the hour of 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. And really, this is where we have to let you know of what is happening in the corridors, that is of current affairs, through letting you know of what is happening, and so that you are not left out. And really, that would also really be quite good, so that you're also not left out, because somebody who is not informed may also be caught off, that is off guard. To avoid tendencies of being caught off guard, that is why you need to also really ensure that you're part of the show. That comes your ways every Mondays, that is until Fridays, and really that is one reason we must also ensure that we are part of the show, and really we are also not left out. And really, before we did go for that break, we had a lot of issues that we discussed, ranging from the Dokolo Woman MP by-elections. We also did talk about something about women, why they need to support the girl child to go to school, and really to empower the girls. That is something that we did talk about. And remember, we also did talk about the Ndiga clan head murder, of what exactly really happened there. Also, we did talk about, not forgetting, that is the NOOP conflicting reports that emerged after the NOOP coordinator shooting, and really that is something that we did talk about. And now, as we are remaining with very few minutes, let's now head to Chigozi, where Chigozi sub-region, where pensioners have asked government to end claim wars, and that is something also we have seen going on there. Remember, sometimes also these pensioners sometimes also feel a lot of challenges. There's a lot of issues maybe when it comes to trust, maybe a lot of issues when it comes to maybe thoughts about these pensions there, because sometimes they get scared about their monies, as they feel these monies could be actually swindled by people who may be able to be termed as scrupulous members of society, maybe as leaders. And now a group of pensioners in the Chigozi sub-region have asked government to address persistent challenges they face in trying to claim their beneficiaries. Really, sometimes these people face a lot of challenges where they are told, go here, do this, bring these documents, do that. Really, this actually makes some people die before actually getting their pension monies, which is really quite unfortunate. So I think for those who have left office, and these pensions are given to people who have served in offices, maybe most of the government offices, who have served for quite some long period of time, and really after retirement, this is money that is given to them. And the pensioners cited such issues such as irregular payments and the government's alleged failure to fulfill the obligation of adjusting their payments in tandem and with increments for civil servants. And that is also something we are seeing these pensioners actually raising their complaints towards. And Betha Bebunkwiza, a retired grade 1-2 teacher, that is from Kabale district, with 25 years of service, that is before retiring, that is 1989, expressed her struggle with inconsistent intention, that is pension payments. And while she received the gratuity benefits after retirement, her pension payments have posed that is continuous challenges, and really that is something I must say is quite unfortunate, because this is money that was deducted from them, and really they also deserve to receive their monies. And she appealed to the government, that is to consider their plight, saying that they dedicated their active years, that is to serve the nation, and really that is something that really they actually echo their voices towards, and that is one reason also they want their monies paid. And Dr. Patrick Kabwiga, the chairperson for Rubanda District Pensioners, expressed his distress at witnessing individuals who faithfully serve the country are facing difficulties in their payments. And it's something also I must say is very, very unfortunate there. And Silva Aguma, the chairperson for Chigezi Pensioners, highlighted their efforts that in approaching various authorities to address their concerns, but they have not received any adequate assistance. And that is also one thing that we are also saying is very, very unfortunate there. And needs not to go on that way, because at the end of the day, this pulls off people away from the trust that is in terms of the pension money is there. So I think relevant authorities have a role to play that is making the public actually believe in this. And then that is also something we are seeing. And in a phone interview with release some of the papers, Joram Tibasimwe, MP for all the persons in Western Uganda, say they have been actively pursuing pensioners' issues until they have not actually obtained their monies. And however, the Ministry of Finance often cites insufficient funds. That is for us a reason for not fully addressing their concerns. And remember, this has not actually been raised alone by the people of Chigezi sub-region. We have also seen other people from other areas, most of those who have been demanding their pensions, have actually also over time raised the same challenges. And Uganda's Pensions Act is applicable to various sectors, including civil servants, teachers, police officers, prison officers, and others. The Act outlines conditions for pension eligibility. So I think that is also something why these people are actually raising their money, because they knew that their monies were being deducted, and they will actually at the end of the day also maybe get their monies. And according to the Act, officers who have served the government for 10 years or more may be granted that's a pension or retirement benefit. So I think the pension is calculated as an annual rate that is of 500 of the officers' pension emoluments. And the latest act, the latest version of the Act was of June 28th of 2018, was amended by the Pensions Act. That is the first amendment of first schedule instrument of 2018. So I think that is something we did see ongoing there. And moving away from that, police asks JESA to withdraw misleading advert. And in a Monday statement that is by the police spokesperson, Mr. Fred Enanga, tasked JESA Dairy Farm to withdraw an on-air commercial advert for its juice, in which the traffic officer is depicted as being corrupt. So I think that's something we are seeing happening there, and really that also paints a bad image of the police. If at all they are to be used as that in advert. So I think they are right. I think Ghana police is right to actually demand for that. And Mr. Nang explained that the content in the controversial commercial advert for JESA Dairies Farm Juice, popularly known as JESA, that is deceptively suggests that a traffic officer during a normal that's enforcement routine stopped that is a driver for inspection, but in the immediate compromised with a pack of JESA juice for the panicky driver and children, after which he left them to proceed without inspection. So I think that is something also which is very, very wrong. And he further explained the advert promotes acts of bribery among children and also reinforces negativity perceptions among the children which is against police. So I think that is also something that we are seeing, because at the end of the day, if that image is going on, and then somebody might also lose trust and think that maybe every other police officer is the same. So I think that is something we are seeing also going on there. And Mr. Nanga cautioned marketeers and ad producers to always seek authorization before that is usage of police images in producing commercial adverts, saying the use of that is the police uniform without express permission of the Inspector General of Police is strictly prohibited. So I think that's also something we did see ongoing there. And the Section 169 of the Penal Code Act prohibits anyone who is not in the police or armed forces from wearing gazetted armed forces uniforms, and conviction of going against the section, a person is liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 7 years. So I think that is also something really that brings us that discussion, the close of that discussion there, as we are just remaining with very few minutes. Let's first have a look at what is happening in the world of sports. And remember those players of Arua City Football Club who did get an accident over the weekend as they were from their game away from that is the parts of Alurland. So as they were returning back, we did see them actually getting an accident that is from Zeu on their way along Arua Bondo Road. So this accident happened in Bondo, where we did see some of the players and technical staffs actually getting an accident and getting serious injuries. I mean, they were actually admitted to Arua Regional Hospital. But now the information that is coming from the club reveals that these have actually now all been let go of from the hospital, and now they're okay as they continue to improve in terms of getting treatment that is from home. And that is something also really we must say is quite good there, because we didn't see any other person losing their lives, and really that's one thing also we must praise God for, because really these accidents sometimes also claim the lives of these bowlers. I do understand that we one time had players who died from these accidents right from the region. Also, up to international level, at one time we had also players that is from one of the clubs that's international also losing their lives. So I think that is something we also have to pray towards. As we on these roads, we have to ensure that we pray towards that. And moving on, still within the regional league, Western regional entity Leah Football Club have announced that former Navy Central FC head coach Olem Hamza, commonly known as Hamzata, as their new boss for the remainder days of, that is the 2023-2024 season. But really the question also people have been asking, is Olema the right man to lift the Stingers out of the danger zone as they currently sit? That's in the 4th place from the bottom of the Nyagak zone standings at 13 points after 14 games. Really, you realize that is quite unfortunate, and really those points may be very few, but is he the right man? That is also something I'm posing to you there as the viewer. And moving away from that, the forward drum is also returning, and now efforts to have the final game is underway as Western Sub-Region were actually knocked out, and Lango actually did proceed on to go to the finals there. And the final forward dream between Lango and Busoga will be played on Sunday, that's March 23rd, that of 2024 at Philip Omondi Stadium, that is Lugogo. And this is something also we are going to be seeing now. And who do you think is going to win that trophy there is the question also really you should be able to ask yourself, maybe as the viewer, or maybe as the person who follows the forward drum there as an ardent lover. Remember, the last edition was actually won by Western Province, which did not actually go on to defend that there. And moving on, today we shall be having games, and before we give you maybe some of the games that we'll be able to go on today on the Champions League, yesterday we did have a game that was in the English Premier League, which also did go on. That is between Chelsea and Newcastle. The game ended 3-2. That's in favor of Chelsea, and that is actually maybe seeing Chelsea moving from that position they are to this position where they are. Is that really good? And really that is something we also seeing maybe Chelsea coming on to win this game there, and really that is to me something good for them. And really Newcastle, maybe for the fans of Newcastle, that will also really be very bad for you. And remember today, which is actually a day of Champions League, we shall be able to see that is Arsenal taking on FC Porto. That game will also be coming at night, and then we shall be able to see Barcelona taking on Napoli. Who do you think of these two will be able to proceed to the next level out of this round of 16? Who do you think will be able to make maybe through to the next levels? And Arsenal is coming to this game having lost 1-0 to FC Porto in the first leg, and now Arsenal is going to be home. Are we going to be seeing them go through? That is the past. That is this stage here, really, that is also something that maybe as the viewer you could be able to sort of really share your idea, opinion on. And really that summarizes our today's edition of the Kokoliriko live show. And especially we want to take this opportunity to thank whoever watched us, that is right from the time we began until this hour of the morning. I say thank you so much. And really we also have to pave way for the Oilers news team to come through now, as Fete Emmanuel keeps on arranging here and there. As you can see on his screen, he is actually very smart now, ready to give you that is what is happening in the world of news. And really in a special way I want to thank my producer, that is Senior Dizon Pro, and not forgetting the lady behind the camera, Senior Aita. Thank you so much. Let's catch up again till tomorrow for the Wednesday edition. And my name is Farish Majid. Thank you. Goodbye.